Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel where I'm sharing delicious recipes every single Monday and Thursday. So make sure that you subscribe and hit the notification bell, then you will know as soon as I upload a new video. I am Chef Christy, and as you can see, I'm wearing my chef coat today because what I want to do is share with you a piece of my culinary experience from culinary school. And so I thought, what better way to do that than to show you my competition dish. Now, it has been a long time since I have made this dish, and I'm excited to create it for you and show you just how I made it, and maybe even inspire you to make this dish at home. And I would also like to go over just a few basic tips and terms that I learned when I was in culinary school. Okay, so one of the most important tools in a kitchen is a good sharp knife, and I have 4 that I want to show you. Okay, so let me go over the difference. First, we have a chef knife, which is a very versatile knife with usually an 8 to 12 inch blade that's tapering, and it's used to slice, dice, and mince, and it is the most popular of the knives. Okay, the next knife is, I pronounce this a santuco. It resembles a small cleaver with a straight, sharp edge, and it has these indentions along the blade, which the purpose of that is to keep vegetables from sticking to the blade, and this is probably my favorite. Okay, moving right along, we have the boning knife, and can you guess what it is used for just by its name? Yes, it is used to remove meat from the bone, and it comes with a long curved blade, and the blade will either be stiff or flexible. And then finally we have the paring knife, and this is a short 2 to 4 inch blade that is used to trim and peel vegetables, and it is a really nice little knife. Okay, and I have said it's important to have a sharp knife, and so I use a sharpener to sharpen them. And then, have you ever seen chefs do this? Okay, what this is called is honing your knife, and all this is keeping that sharp edge nice and fresh, and you use a steel rod to do that. I want to show you all how to break down a chicken, and all that means is taking a whole chicken and cutting it into 8 pieces. Okay. For competition in culinary school, we had 1 hour to break down a chicken and to cook our meal. Okay, I'm not sure you noticed, but I have plastic wrap on my countertops. Sanitation is very, very important. And I'm gonna be using a boning knife and a chef knife. And then the cutting board, the color of it is red, which means it is used for raw meat. Okay, so here is the chicken broke down. We have 2 drumsticks, 2 thighs, 2 wings, 2 breasts. These are the tenderloins that I pulled off the breast. And then this is the carcass, which I'm going to use to make a nice chicken stock. It's important to wash your hands after you touch raw meat. I'm just going to do a rough chop of parsley for garnish. Okay, as you can see, I have all of my ingredients out before me, and they are measured out and organized into each dish. And this is called mise en place, which is French for everything is in its place. Organization is so important when cooking. And my competition dish is a pan-seared chicken breast with red-eye gravy, crispy polenta cake, and honey glazed carrots. Okay, so the first thing that I want to do is get my polenta started. Okay, so I added 3 cups of chicken broth, and now I'm going to add 1 cup of heavy cream, and I'm going to bring this up to a boil. Okay, so once the chicken broth and heavy cream come to a boil, I'm going to add 1 cup of cornmeal, stirring, a half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of garlic powder, cracked black pepper, and then I'm going to add a half a cup of grated Parmesan cheese and 3 tablespoons of butter. Then I'm just going to pour this into a square, I think it's an 8x8 pan. I'm going to put this in my freezer so that it will cool down. Okay, so next I'm just going to peel my carrots, and I'm peeling them on the saran wrap, and then all I got to do is pick the saran wrap up with the carrot peelings and throw it in the trash. Okay, there are a lot of knife cuts out there, and I'm just going to do a diagonal on the bias cut for you today, just showing you one very basic cut. Okay, so I'm going to salt some boiling water that's in a small sauce pot, and then I'm just going to place my carrots, and I'm just going to let these cook for just maybe 5 minutes or so, just until they're fork tender. Okay, so I'm going to add some olive oil to a nice hot iron skillet, and then I'm going to place my chicken with the skin side down directly into that. And you want to hear that nice sound when you drop that sizzling sound, because we want that skin to get crispy. So it's going to take it a good 5 minutes. All right, let's flip this bad boy over. Now that's what you're talking about. You want a nice crispy skin. Okay, so now I'm going to take it out of the skillet, put it onto a pan. I'm going to place this in an oven and let it finish cooking in the oven. Okay, next I need to cut up these 2 beauties. And does anyone know the difference? You find these in the grocery store in the produce section, and they're usually side by side. This is a shallot, well, a shallot, and then this is obviously garlic. But I'm going to be using them in my red eye gravy. So first I just want to cut up my onion, and I'm going to do a dice on this. Actually going to mince some garlic for you today. You smack it to get it out of its skin, and then just start chopping. This is why I like my garlic press. It's a little bit easier. Actually, you can also mash it with the side of your knife. Okay, so now I'm going to make my red eye gravy. And this is the same skillet that I roasted the chicken, but I do want to wipe some of this oil out because I don't need this much oil, because I'm going to fry up some bacon, and that will give me enough grease on its own. Okay, so I've got my iron skillet nice and hot, and I'm going to add 3 pieces of bacon that I've chopped up, and I'm just going to cook this until it becomes nice and crispy. Okay, so now that my bacon is crispy, I'm just going to pour all this onto a plate that I've got a paper towel on with the grease. I don't want all of that grease in there. I don't want greasy gravy. I want red eye gravy. Okay, so back to my skillet. I've got my shallot and my garlic. I'm going to add that. And just let this cook for just a little bit until it begins to soften up. Okay, these are about ready. So now I'm going to add some beef broth, and I'm going to reserve some of that beef broth to add some cornstarch. And then this is what makes it red eye. It is coffee. And this originated in the military when they would try to keep the men red-eyed and bushy-tailed. They would add coffee to the gravy. Okay, so my polenta has set up. I've removed it from the baking dish. And then what I'm going to do is I have this nice cutter, and I'm just going to cut circles. You can do any shape that you want, but I am just going to do some nice circles to fry up for our polenta cakes. Okay, so next I'm just going to place my polenta cakes right in that skillet and let them sear up until they get nice and crispy on one side. And in the meantime, my red-eye gravy, the liquid has reduced. I'm going to add some cornstarch to the remaining of this beef broth. And let this dissolve. And this is called a slurry. It's just a way to thicken gravy. All right, so I'm going to add this directly into my gravy, stirring so it becomes nice and thick. I'm going to add some salt, cracked black pepper, and then I'm going to put my bacon right back into the gravy. And then I'm going to let this come to a boil until it gets nice and thick as well. All right, let's check out these. Oh, yes. Okay, for the carrots, it could not be any easier. I'm just going to add a couple tablespoons of butter to a skillet and let that melt. Then I'm going to add a tablespoon of honey. Tossing in my carrots. Now we want to salt and pepper. And I'm going to throw in some parsley as well, just for color. Oh yeah. Look at these carrots. Okay, let's talk plate presentation. I have all of my components to my dish finished, and so now I've got this square white plate, and I'm going to take each item and place on here just so that it will have a nice, beautiful presentation. Okay, so the first thing that I want to do is I'm going to put some of this gravy right down onto my plate, make a little circle. And I'm going to take a nice crispy polenta cake and place. Then I'm going to take my chicken and place on top like as so. And lastly, I'm going to take my carrots and I'm just going to place them around. Sprinkle a little bit more parsley all around just to give it some added color to the plate. Okay, I have really enjoyed showing you my competition dish from culinary school, and when I made this dish, it just brought back so many memories. I had so many good chefs that were in my life, whether it was at school or at work, and I was just truly blessed. So I really hope that you enjoyed learning how to do this, but I've got to sample it. Did I not have to sample it? This really is delicious. There is nothing like a good piece of chicken with a nice crispy skin, and this red-eye gravy is so good. Wow. I hope that you give this a try. Thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful day.